Yeah, my presentation is also very on a practical level. So as you can see, these are two images from the Family Justice Center in Limburg in Belgium. Just to make clear, we don't own whole of the building. We only have a part of a floor in the big building. But just to let you know, Limburg is part of Eastern Belgium. And what's the Family Justice Center in Limburg about? Actually, it's a multidisciplinary team of professionals and does various services who work together under one roof to tackle domestic violence in a coordinated and systemic approach when possible. At the moment, we are a center that works on referrals and not directly accessible yet by clients. But those who are referred to us can come to obtain all the help and the services that they need to put an end to the violence, to help them enhance their safety and also to increase offender accountability. Now, why are we doing this? Because actually, when you look at people all around the world, everyone shares the three same core values: family, safety, and health, which are all endangered by domestic violence, which is a common and highly underreported problem with complex and dangerous dynamics. Also, for instance, if a child or a person is robbed on the street and has been hit or something, that's also very traumatic, but there are low chances that that person will ever encounter the offender once again in their life. But in domestic violence, those involved often stay in each other's environment. They stay parent, they stay in partner or ex-partner, or so on. Domestic violence has a devastating impact on children, and it would bring me too far, but I would like to highlight the ACE study, the Adverse Childhood Study, which shows those devastating impacts on children and the intergenerational transfer that occurs often. Domestic violence also has a great social cost, and we see that many services are involved, and it transcends policy domains, policy levels, and also competencies of professionals. Now, what are we actually doing? Family Justice Center is a concept that comes from the United States of America, but starts to also find common ground here in Europe. And the main idea behind Family Justice Centers is take the best of what you already have and bring it all together. In our case, that means putting the police, a part of the police department, the public prosecutor, social services, youth services, municipalities, the probation services, victim support services, abuse, the youth services for child abuse, and also the agencies on mental health care and substance abuse. We bring all of those expertise together under one roof. Now, our goals are to reach for sustainable safety for the whole family. So not only for the child, but for all the persons involved. We want to be proactive and give them an offer to help them on a low threshold base. We want to prevent violence and gain a clearer picture of it. Now, which cases come to our center? We have a chain approach for the complex files with the high-risk multi-problem families, where you really need a coordinated approach between welfare, police, and justice. As you can see, that's actually 1% of all of our cases. 99% come from all police reports. So in our region, and we work for about 333,000 inhabitants, every time that there's a police when there's an incident and police has an intervention, or when a victim goes to the police station and makes a statement, they will always draw up a report. That report will always be sent within 7 days to the police, the professionals in our family justice center, and they will, together with the public prosecutor, build up a case, and they will do a risk assessment. The public prosecutor will also check with the mandated youth facilities whether the minors are already known by those services, whether there's an active trajectory with them, and so on. But this is a risk assessment that is very general. So it's not only about the child. Of course, we look at the situation of the children. Were they involved? Did they witness? Were they in the house? Were they a witness? Were they directly hit? But we also look at the grown-ups involved. Is this the first time that domestic violence happened? Are there other previous cases? Is there substance abuse? How about the financial? Do we know about financial problems? What about housing? So we try to get a really broad perspective already about the family. Also important, we don't do a risk assessment on every time a police intervention occurs, but the first time we draw up a report, a case file, but the next time that police has to intervene, we update our risk assessment. So we don't start from scratch every time again. We try to make a continuous risk assessment so that the information doesn't get lost in the process. So we put all the police and the public prosecutor put all the information they have together, and they do a triage of the cases into low, mid, or high risk situations. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to work on all cases. So in the low risk cases, there will be sent a letter from the public prosecutor's office to both the perpetrator and the victim with a brochure stating there's something going on, police had to intervene. That's not okay. You should try and get help about it. And in the brochure, you can find the services that can offer you that help. In the mid to high risk cases, we inform the clients that their case has come to the Family Justice Center. And at that stage, we will ask all our partners involved, so also youth services, the municipalities, mental health care workers, all of our partners, do you know these people? What do you know about them? Is there an active trajectory in your organization with them? Do you have relevant information that you want to share with all the other partners? So we share the need to know information about the people involved, and not the nice to know, which is very important that we stick to the need to know information. And then we do an assessment. Is the Family Justice Center the best placed partner to offer those people help or not? I will clarify. If, for instance, a case comes to our center in which a child was hit by one of their parents, of course they should be offered help. They should be offered a trajectory. But if we know from our child protective services partners that they already know the people involved, that they already are working with the child, then it's sometimes best for us not to get involved, to let them know, of course, that we share information, but not to offer an extra trajectory, because from our point of view, it wouldn't be that efficient. but especially it isn't victim friendly to have them come to another center to share their story once again. But for instance, in the same situation, if they aren't known yet by youth services, then of course the public prosecutor's office and the police will take their responsibility and make sure that the case goes to the mandated facilities. But again, same situation. The child got hit during a heated argument between the parents. There's already a trajectory with the youth services, but those professionals tell us, we want to keep our focus on the child, but yet there's something going on between the parents. Perhaps it's good that someone talks with them about the dynamics between them as a couple, about the violence between them as a couple. And we would like to keep our focus on the child. Is it perhaps possible that you as a family justice center open up that discussion with the parents? Then we will hear the question, and normally we will always say yes and start our own trajectory with the parents. Now, we started up 3 years ago, and in 3 years, we have 4,150 unique client systems.
Sorry, Mrs.
Yes.
If it's possible to conclude in a couple of minutes, because we are running a bit behind schedule. Thank you.
No problem, because normally they all should receive the presentation. So let me see. I'll skip to this one.
The last. Make sure that everyone receives the slides after.
Yeah. Because we see that this type of multi-agency cooperation really has an impact. Because we see that we do a there's a risk assessment continuously done in all families that are known by police for domestic violence, that there is special attention given to the children in those families, that we share information, that we all have a piece of the puzzle that we bring together, that there is a care offer. And we had a short evaluation study done, and we had a very positive outcome stating that 50% of our clients are satisfied and 50% are very satisfied. And also that partner organizations know more about each other, and they have greater satisfaction with the multi-agency cooperation. And perhaps, because that was something I heard, Roxana, what you asked about, how can we train about multi-agency cooperation? From one of our previous European projects, we had a book drawn up about child abuse and multi-agency cooperation and how you can implement it. And it was available in 11 languages, which, if I recall correctly, were also Greek and Italian. And a happy surprise, Mrs. Mastropaska, who already shared a presentation with us, was also one of the professionals involved in that project. So I will also present the PDF files of the book